Hey there, good people. How are y'all doing today? Let's get ourselves situated here. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right. Let us see. There we are. Man, we're up and going fast. I hope everyone is staying warm. It is so cold. We are not used to this weather here in Central Texas, okay? So for those of you who are not in Texas right now and don't realize that the fact that the entire state of Texas is below freezing right now. I just heard that a little while ago. It is nuts. There's like 4 to 6 inches of snow outside my front door with snowdrifts, like legit snowdrifts. So we're pretty much all on lockdown here, and it's just a little nuts. It is just a little nuts. I'm totally not used to it. The kids are out playing, in the snow, and I have teenagers. So you hear thumping, that's what's going on. They're coming in and out from that, I don't know, whatever, 15-degree weather that it is. They're going to be super cold in a minute. I'm cold right now and I'm just sitting here. All right. So for those of you who are joining for the first time, welcome. My name is Patricia Hayes. I am an executive advisor, career empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist. And I am super excited to be with you today. We are here for Coffee Time Career Chat. I love it. Coffee Time started almost a year ago now to help get us through this pandemic, and we are still going strong. Twice a week on Mondays live, and on Wednesdays we do recorded, and Wednesdays this is a special treat because it is explicitly focused on networking strategies, techniques, just conversations about leveraging your professional relationships so that you can grow exponentially in your career and your business ventures. So that is what we do today. We are here to talk about, what are we talking about today? Taking care of yourself matters. That's what we're talking about today. So here's the thing. This month, we've been talking about self-care and self-sabotage, kind of floating between the two and talking about it in the context of your professional relationships, not just your professional relationship, but your professional career, your growth, those things that that you clearly are concerned about and that you want to make sure that you are keeping track of and doing hopefully well as you move along your way. As I always remind folks, this whole thing is a journey. It's not an end destination. The longer you live, the more you recognize that and the more you realize that. And I can say that for sure. But you're supposed to enjoy the journey. And there may be some rough spots and patches along the way. But the thing is also to learn from those experiences so that you can better the rest of your journey. And so one of those things that's clear is that you have to take care of yourself. I have learned several of these lessons the hard way. So we're going to talk about them today in the context of trying to help you either to get through them or to make sure that you can bypass or at least minimize some of them if you possibly can. So here's first thing. If you are a working professional in particular, a lot of people, not just professionals, but in particular, if you're a working person, we are generally notorious for not taking good care of ourselves, right? Because here's the thing. We're too busy going after that next promotion, getting that big raise, moving between companies, all this kind of stuff that sometimes it can be go, 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 and you don't slow down enough. We don't slow down enough to actually take care of ourselves. Now, what am I talking about? We're going to explore that here. The deal is, though, right now, hey, Janet, is that I'm talking about more than bubble baths and massage. Now, don't get me wrong. I am all for a good bubble bath, okay? But I'm also going to show you how a good bubble bath can be ruined, okay? Because you're not setting proper boundaries. I'm all for a great massage. But it doesn't do any good if you don't do it regularly and make it a part of a self-care routine and remember why you're doing it. It's not just for the sake of the massage. So those are all tactics. They're not the strategy that's focusing on what it is you're supposed to be really getting to. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. Not just the tactics. I'm going to give you a list of tactics on the back end, but I'm talking about the strategies and the what fors and whys, and why it's important for us to take good care of ourselves, in our professional and personal lives. So first thing, mindset. Yeah, I know you're tired of hearing me talk about it. Whatever, it's going to happen. It's going to happen even more because I have a new mindset coach and they are kicking my butt already. The whole team, love them to death. They are the greatest, sweetest, power, kicking women, but they are not playing. And so I'm already getting it on the mindset piece. And here's what I have for you. It is so important to make sure that we set boundaries, okay? Boundaries about our space, and the mindset piece and the emotional piece are going to kind of meld together a little bit. So forgive me there. But definitely from the perspective of how we approach things and how we think about things and how we let other people influence how we think about things, okay? That's what we really want to talk about here. Whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's your work colleagues, the people you volunteer with, here's how they can really drain on you, on your mindset and abusing boundaries or crossing over boundaries, right? Which is the person who's always asking for help and then kind of guilt tripping you if you don't give it to them, right? Not because they're incapable of doing it. There may be a legit reason every once in a while, but most of the time it's just they don't feel like doing it. Or, oh, you're so much better. The hidden flattery thing. You're so much better at it. You can do it so much faster. Okay? I'm sure we've all heard those. Then we've got the folks, and again, all of this applies to everybody. Family, friends, work colleagues, just take your pick, because I'm sure we've heard one version of this from everyone in one of those groups, okay? Also, folks who are constantly dumping their problems on you, they're not really looking for a solution. I learned years ago that dumping is a clinical term. That just boggled my mind. I was like, really? They're yeah, it's this thing where people are legitimately just talking about their issue, complaining about it, have no intention whatsoever of doing anything about it or taking any real action. So they're just dumping it out. And if you're there, you're getting dumped on. Okay? What is that doing to your mindset? How is that affecting whether, what it is you're doing and how you're approaching a situation, how you're approaching dealing with that person when they're always dumping up, okay? What about those folks who are, oh my God, always creating drama? There's something dramatic in if we pick up this pen, there's something dramatic in that moment, right? There are those people, we all know them. We all know them. Hopefully we are not them, but we all know them. How are we letting those people, those situations affect how we think, affect our perceptions of how we react and respond to things, okay? All of those different situations can result in so many different things, including a lot of times just feeling oh, am I really doing the right thing? So that's the self-doubt or the questioning your abilities, questioning your value, all of these things that affect how we think about ourselves, how we perceive how others are looking at us, all of that crap. Here's the thing, boundaries. At some point in time, if we want to live healthy lives, we have to start setting boundaries. We have to set boundaries around the person who's always asking for help, always asking for one thing or another, right? Of not answering that phone call for the 5th time today. Okay, because it's like literally, when you have the person knock at the door and you're like telling your kids, if there's not blood or guts or fire involved, then like leave me alone. Like we have to get that way about our minds, about how we are letting people just dump on us, how we are allowing, because that's the thing. Sometimes people approach us and they're doing it, but there are a lot of times where we're not proactively trying to prevent it. We have to take some steps and some actions to proactively prevent it. Okay. And so, here's one quick strategy, quick tactic I'm going to toss in here just because it's timely. It's like sometimes we have to volley back, but like when they bring that crap and try to dump it on you, you're like, you got to toss it back. You're like, I don't want that in my yard. Not in my yard. Here's the boundaries of my mind, and I do not want that stuff dumped in here. You literally have to think about that in that way. Okay. Why does it matter? If you are constantly being dumped on, having your boundaries crossed and all of that from a mental state, you're exhausted. Who can do good work? Who can be creative when you're exhausted from dealing with all the people around you? Hello, been there, done that. I am not talking about what I think. I'm talking about what I know. It is exhausting. And so there are those people who will keep doing it. They will keep doing it until you put up a boundary, till you put up a fence, till you put up a wall, till you don't take that phone call, you don't respond to that text message when it first comes through. Set up the boundaries, okay? Because they can wear on you. You can become resentful. And all of that feeds into the other things we're going to talk about as well. Your emotional health, your physical health, all of those things come together as a package. But I used to tell someone years ago about how, mental work is more exhausting than physical. And I took, I think it was my husband, but he took offense at that, right? It was like, how do you say that? Let me explain something to you. You can be physically exhausted, but still fresh in your mind. So you might be physically tired, but your mind can still kind of go. But if you are mentally exhausted, it just feeds through your whole body. And it's like, I'm done. Okay. So you got to protect right up here. You got to protect it. Because all of that energy, that if you're getting bad energy, guess what? It's sucking up and coming right in your brain, and you're going to be putting it out. And that is not what you want. You don't want to be putting out somebody else's bad energy. Because I'm like, if you're like me, I got enough of my own to put out. It's that old saying. It's like, I can do bad all by myself. I do not need help from someone else. Okay. So it's kind of that same thing. And I'm joking a little bit here, but I'm very serious about setting up the boundaries. They are so important for our professional and personal growth because they are intertwined. Okay. If you do not keep a strong outlook on making sure that you're protecting your self-worth, your self-values and all of those perceptions and realities and all of that, then it's going to be harmful to you in the long run. And you're not going to get where you want to be, and you're going to be confused about why. Okay, so we got to make sure we set up those boundaries. So sliding right into the second one, which is emotionally. So much tied together, right? Very draining when someone's especially we're experiencing something that's draining on playing on our emotions all the time. Again, those drama situations, those stressful situations, right? That play with our emotions, that keep us in crisis mode, all right? All of those things that we have to recognize for what they are and how they are not helpful to us having a good sense of self-care. Okay, so this is about recognizing these things, recognizing these situations that drain us emotionally, right? That we're just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm like, we know those people, right? We know those people. We hope we aren't those people. But if we are, that you start recognizing this in yourself, because what you don't want to do is be a drain on someone else. right? You don't want others draining on you. You don't want to be a drain on someone else. So recognizing and looking at those times when you're like, I need to take a step back. Either because I'm, dumping emotionally or just like all over the place and just like, just letting it go on someone else, or if someone else is doing that for us. Again, if this is an accountability partner or someone we're talking to, that's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that thing where you're like, oh my God, is this going to end? Or, oh crap, I really have time. I mean, you know what you start doing when you have someone who's just like draining and taking all of your energy out of you. Okay? Can't have it. Again, we're talking about starting to set those boundaries, recognizing the situations that create that, the people that create that, and then start setting boundaries about what those look like and how far you let them in. And it doesn't have to be, people are like, oh, I cut them off, whatever. Well, sometimes it, calls for drastic measures, and sometimes that's appropriate. But most of the time it's not that. Most of the time it's just telling someone no. Remember that no is a complete sentence. It doesn't, no, because you don't owe people an explanation. It is a complete sentence. And particularly we as women are horrible about remembering that. We kind of think like we have to explain ourselves, and we don't. All right. Now, and if you choose to, that's up to you. All right. So we've got the mindset issues, we've got the emotional issues, and oh my gosh, the fun times, the physical, right? When we let our health go, when we have poor eating habits, we're not sleeping well, we're not listening to our bodies. And what does that do? You can't function at your best. Okay? I have a teenage boy. I mean, they could just run and go, whatever. But I'm trying to remind him, I'm like, even as an athlete, like, you have to put good fuel in your body if you want to be able to perform well, just like you do with your car, right? So whether you're an athlete or not, like, we have to put the good fuel in our bodies, food-wise, by sleeping, getting enough sleep, making sure that we get some exercise. I mean, it may be a little hard at 15-degree weather, but I'm sure there's some kind of stretching thing we can do, right? I'm saying all this because I've always been this up and down, because literally throughout my 20s and all of that. I mean, I was an athlete when I was young. Throughout my 20s, I could just kind of pretty much do what I needed to do. I will, take an aerobics class. I'll take whatever other kind of class here or there. And in my 30s, I kind of got into the yoga thing, and I would do that sporadically. And then here we are. Now, in 50s, I'm just like, things are going on, trying to run a business, trying to keep everybody sane in a house, when we're in the middle of a stinking pandemic. And I'm just like, oh my God, I need out. Right? And we're maybe less motivated to get outside to do things, especially on a super cold day. But are you eating well? Are you still getting your sleep? Here's the thing, that thing about listening to your bodies, I forgot who I had this conversation with last week. It is so important, because if your body says you need to sit your butt down, you really should sit your butt down. Because here's what happens if you don't. You think, oh, I'm going to get one more thing done. But next thing you know, you are laid out on a couch, fully dressed, glasses on. I don't know who I'm talking about. But I mean, because that's what happens if you don't listen. If you will actually go take and get the rest you need, or go do the creative thing to give your brain a rest, whatever, you would be surprised at how much more efficient and high functioning you'll become. Like, just get the rest. And that thing that we thought was going to take us, dragging out, it's like 2 or 3 hours, we could probably get it done in like an hour. That's a real thing. That's not just made up. But simply by clearing your head, getting some rest. Eating some food. We all know the hangry signs, right? Where you're just like about to lose your mind because you're so hungry, you've waited too late to eat, and it takes time to reset everything to get you back to a like where you can see straight. Same thing, but just all these things combined together. And what happens is when you have all of these things going on at the same time, when we're literally living in the middle of a stress ball. I mean, like our society right now is just like one giant stress ball that we're all living in, okay? And you have all of those things going on. You have to set your own boundaries for your mental capacity, for your emotional capacity, for your physical capacity. If you still want to be able to move forward and to get the new job, get the promotion, get assigned to that great new project. Because guess what? Just because we're living in the middle of a stress ball society does not mean that our goals and dreams have gone away. They have not. No one is traveling right now, but you better believe I still have plans of going to Italy someday. I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it doesn't mean I stop dreaming about it. That doesn't mean I stop working towards it and trying to plan about what that may look like. Okay? But I can't dream and set those goals if I'm exhausted. You get, all muddled in the brain. You have no motivation. You get a bad attitude. All right. So this is why self-care matters. Because if you want to perform, because that's really what you're trying to do. Like, oh, I want the next job. No, you're trying to perform at a higher level. You are trying to pursue a new set of goals. Okay. Those all equal to professional performance. You're trying to do something. You're trying to get better. Okay, you're trying to get to another level. You want to be able to perform at your best. And when we don't take care of ourselves, we cannot perform at our best. I mean, it's just bottom line. It's a journey. Trust you me. Because there are days like I'm on it, I'm rolling, I'm good, I've got enough steps in, I've eaten, I've planned the meals for the days, I'm good. And then the wheels come off. I look up, it's 4, I haven't eaten lunch. I have been sitting in a chair in front of a video for like hours on end. I mean, like everything wrong, I would have done it. And that's when you have to be like, I gotta get back on. I gotta get back on it. Stop what you're doing. Go eat. Go take a walk around the house. Right? Go play with some paper. Y'all know that's my thing. I love to play paper craft and play. Y'all saw, if you saw my stuff this weekend, I was busy making Valentines this weekend. All right. All of those things are what feeds our soul, not just mental and emotional, but physically, all of it. Get up, move around. Okay. Engage with someone else. Even if you have to pick up the phone to call somebody, do it. Those are all kinds of things that we need in order to take better care of ourselves. Not living, and this is definitely a part of the emotional and the self-care, because it's happening so much where, people are isolating themselves, and that's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not good for us. All right. So that means you have to take a step to do something to get out of something that's not healthy for you, to be more proactive in it. If you want to perform at the highest level, I have crazy big dreams for this year. Okay. I've got some goals. I got some things I need to do. And I know I can tell you right now where I've fallen off the train. Like I am off track and I'm like, ugh. And it's so easy because, hello, perfectionist Patty here. It is so easy to beat myself up. But guess what's not so? It is better, because that's the easy way out, beating yourself up and then not doing anything. But it's better to get back on it and be like, okay, what's that one thing I can do right now? What can I do to move this forward, to move this needle forward? Okay? And that's what we're going to talk about. All right. Now, I promised you some strategies. Here are some strategies. Some of things are not going to be surprises. They're not new, but in the context of self-care and applying them to whether you're building up your mindset, whether you're taking care of your emotional health, whether you're taking care of your physical health, your spiritual health. I mean, like we could go on, okay? But here are some strategies. Number one, journaling. Y'all know I'm a huge fan of journals. I have my own collection. Here's one here. I don't even remember what this one's for, but here's one here. I have tons of them. I have a business journal. I have one for personal. I have my 5-minute journal for, collecting my thoughts for gratitude and all of that early in the day. A whole bunch of different things. The whole point of that is to tap in to your thoughts, your goals, your dreams, all of that. Tap into that on a daily basis, okay? Getting it out on paper, not letting stuff swirl around in our heads, all right? Because that's not always, the best. We got to get it out some kind of way. And writing it down if you're not talking to someone is an important piece of that. Even if it's jotting down just, the 5 ideas you had for a new project. It doesn't mean you have to sit there and write out the whole thing or do whatever, because that's an easy way out of being like, oh, I don't have time to do all of that. You do have time to write down 5 things, right? Because guess what? It's your experience. You can come back to it and finish it out. You can flesh it out over time. So you have that time. Accountability partners are amazing. Okay, this is totally up to you. Whether it's someone you're accountable to for health reasons, whether it's someone you're accountable to for business projects or personal, whatever it is. All that is accountability partner is someone who you've agreed to say, hey, I'm going to check on you or you're going to check on me once a month, once a week, whatever it may be on X thing. And it's to keep you on track. I have several because I got a lot of things going on. So I have several to help keep me on track for the goals and the dreams that I have moving forward. Okay. But guess what? When you have that accountability partner, you have someone that also helps to minimize your stress because you have an outlet for whatever comes your way on that issue. You have an outlet for it. Okay, that's the whole point. You have an outlet to share. I'm like, oh, I did so great, or I didn't do so great. And the person's like, okay, that's cool. What do we need to do to fix that? What do we need to do to change that? Okay, accountability partners can come in different forms, right? They can come with really close friends. I like to say professionally, someone that you trust, that you have a good relationship with, trust. They can come in the form of coaches. Right? You're paying someone to be accountable to. It's not a bad idea. Sometimes that's what we have to do. You have, therapy. That's accountability on a whole different level, right? If you're having a lot of emotional or mental issues that go beyond just hey, let's chit chat about this and talking something through, and you need professional help, then go get the stinking professional help. There's so much access to it, and there's no reason for any of us to suffer in silence. Okay, so go get that help. All right, as we continue, and I know so many folks who are working in that area, working to destigmatize it, but also just recognizing, we all can use that. Okay. Another strategy I actually already talked about a little bit, setting some strong boundaries. This is a thing, y'all. Telling people no. Saying, you know what, thank you so much for that opportunity, but I'm not available for that right now. How can I help you find someone who can meet that need for you? Man, isn't that a fantastic sentence? Okay? Setting those boundaries. I'm going to tell you one of... Oh my gosh. Okay, so we were talking about these de-stress tactics, right? Which I label those the massages, the baths, the quiet times. Quiet time is a good thing. It's a real thing, right? The vacations, okay? Those are all good tactics tactics. Here's what's bad about a good tactic. A great de-stressing bath, it's not so great if your phone is in the bathroom with you dinging with messages from people. Like, that is not relaxing. And that is not honoring what you need to be doing. Do you see how you can that could go off track real fast? Same thing, whether it's your quiet time or whatever. Okay, so here's the thing, and I'm just gonna own it. I'm like, I've done that because, our phones are everything. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to music on my phone, right? I'm gonna listen to music, because my music is on my phone. And then ding, and it's like, oh, well, right before I get in the shower or right before I'm gonna, let me respond. No, either leave the phone outside or turn off the notifications, because this is your time. You have to take good care of yourself. You have to set the boundaries for when you're going to allow people to, enter the fence line. All right? And sometimes it's as simple as that. And I had to start doing that. I'd either deliberately leave my phone downstairs in the office somewhere else so I could go, take a bath or a shower in peace, right? Because literally there's not really that much that's that urgent right now. And even those things that are, they can wait that 15, 20, 30 minutes. It can wait. Okay? Take advantage of that. Vacations. This is another thing that has not been a strong suit of mine, especially in recent times, because it's running a business, gotta do this, gotta do that. And then right now, hello, who's going anywhere? But you have to figure out what that looks like. Make the plans for it, because, planning vacations and going on vacation, that is a part of my self-care routine. I forgot who I learned that from this in recent months, but literally, I think it was my business coach. Literally, planning vacations, it needs to be a part of your self-care routine, especially if you work for yourself, or especially if you're taking care of other people. You have to plan that time to get away so that you can rejuvenate and revitalize yourself. Have that away time. It may not be a lot at first. It may be a day at the spa. It may be a weekend at a cabin, right? Until we can get up to, whatever these days and weeks ahead apart. I mean, there are folks who've been able to pull it off. More power to you. Congratulations. It's all a little tricky these days, traveling in the middle of a pandemic. So that's not one of those things that's great high on my comfort levels for a number of personal reasons. However, I will be doing something. All right? Because I'm making it a part of my self-care routine. So when you remember why you're doing something, and that it's not just for the feel good, say, oh yeah, I have this great massage, whatever, but it's literally to revitalize, to rejuvenate, to get your head back straight, right? To get your body back. Why? Why does all this matter? Because you want to be able to perform at your best as you are going for those goals, as you are going for those dreams. That's why you do that, right? Doing it, taking a vacation for rejuvenation and revitalization is different than taking a vacation for pleasure. Going to the spa for fun with your girls is different than going to the spa or getting massages for rejuvenation. So don't get it twisted. I am not one to down either. I'm for it all. But recognize when you are doing something because you need to build yourself up so that you can perform better and not just so that it's fun. Because sometimes you know how it is. Remember when we were coming and going on vacations and things like that, and you come back from vacation ready to go back to work because you were tired. It was like, you were not supposed to come back from vacation tired because you tried to do too many things or whatever, and you were playing really hard. Okay? So remember that. Think about those things and why you're doing them. so that you can set the expectations, right? If you're going to go to the spa for a day and you're not inviting your friends and someone gets upset, you're like, don't take it personally. This ain't got nothing to do with you. This is all about the fact that I need to pull myself together, so I need to get away by myself. All right? So, and that's setting a boundary. That's another example of setting a boundary. Okay? All right. I think that's it. So I want you to think about that this week. We're talking about, how taking care of yourself matters, why it matters, all of the things we need to do to take into consideration, and then how we can apply it by remembering our why. That's really what it gets down to. Remember your why so that you can get to the goals and the dreams that you have set for yourself, and you can be there like fully energized, ready to go, ready to like lay some power punches. Okay? That is it. So don't forget to check in with Coffee Time Career Chat on Wednesday, where we're going to be doing Authentic Networking Edition. Super excited about that as always. And also, if you or someone you know is looking to get some coaching done, we can we can set up a time to strategically talk about it. I still have room on my calendar for this quarter. You're welcome, Janet, for some VIP intensives. So if you want to talk about that and what that might look like, we can have a chat as well. And don't forget to share this out with those around you so that we can share the love on how to make sure that we can all perform at our best in this new year. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a safe and warm week as much as possible. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.